Happy Halloween, Michael. It is the day after Halloween. I'm in my candy coma.
Yeah, apparently I'm in my Graham Walsh outfit. I'm dressed up as Graham Walsh today.
You dressed up as Grandma's. Well, welcome to Friday, where it's another episode of Selling Microsoft Teams Rooms every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, whatever time it is in the world for you. Welcome, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. We got a lot of news this week, Michael. First, Microsoft released earnings this week. Great earnings report. And this one point I think is really important to understand. 75% of our customers now buy premium phone or rooms. Our partners have been driving this message home that Teams is better with everything that surrounds it. So 100%, I want to make sure. Satya called it out in his earnings report. Great to see.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast Tom Arbuthnot did, and the same basic thing was pushed out that the more you're into the platform, the more you're going to go to Teams rooms or phone or whatever. So yes, this all makes sense, and it's a better end user experience when you just walk in and it looks the same.
And everything works. Speaking of everything working, there is a new streamlined collaboration with the new chat and channels experience. Now, Michael, I will tell you, I've been using this for a couple months now. I did not like it when I first started it. Have you tried it?
I have not. It has not come down to me yet.
All right. I did try it 100%. It's one of those things. It is jarring when you first use it because it changes your way that you actually do your work and approach your work, but it is a better experience once you get used to this. And why is that? Because the important things are actually highlighted and brought to the top. And that's really a better way of working and a more efficient way of working. So while like I said, I was not a fan of this because it changed the way that I work. I'm a zero inbox. I don't like to see things open. I just don't like that. But this, again, allows us to only bubble to the top the things that are there.
One quick question. Has this made it easier to find unread things in channels? Because now I find myself having to scroll down my channels list and see if there are any bold ones. Does that kind of help with this?
It's the same experience where it's the bold ones and things like that. But if you do have it in your favorites, it's going to bubble it up to the top. Again, it's a new way of working and a new way of actually seeing things. It's not that expansive, but it is a change, which I am old, Michael. I don't like change. I like the way that things work. Can't everything stay in 1982? My Pub Pilot still works, Michael. It still works. Also, Teams Rooms on expanded cross-platform team. This is coming out soon. This is in the What's New in Microsoft Teams in October. We're going to go through a couple of these things. But again, if you have questions about this, Michael, where's the best place to go? Next Tuesday, we're having a Learning Hours. Go ahead and sign up for Learning Hours, the Teams Room expanded cross-platform SIP meeting. Direct guest join, myself, Matt Slomka, and Michelle Bauman. We will all be going through everything that is. What's best for your meeting room? How do we approach it with customers? What are we actually engineering and why? Also, inside of there's also a new blog article on the Learn site that has a new chart about everything that's in there. And this is one of the things that comes out of us doing Learning Hours is that we will update documentation. We will go ahead and make sure that everything's in there. And I think that chart does a really nice job.
Charts are good.
Charts are good.
On the also, I want to see what to expect.
Absolutely. What's new in Teams on October? Enhanced admin controls for Cloud and Teleframe. This one's an important one, Michael, because now this allows customers who may not have a camera that's approved for Cloud and Teleframe to actually turn this on and see what their experience might be.
Yep, there's a lot of fun things here. You can also turn it off, right? If you don't want it at all, because it is the default experience, and maybe your org doesn't like it. So yeah, the improved controls are always a good thing.
And again, an admin control also in that blog post. Meetup 2 and Teams Rooms on Windows with Lenovo Core is a new certified device. Congratulations to our partners at Lenovo and Logitech for coming together. Digital signage is another huge feature that came to Teams Room this week, and I know people are out there trying it, Michael.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things to this, especially if you're using AppSpace or Zogo. Zogo, I believe is how it said.
Zogo.
If you're using those platforms, I was in the part of the TAP program. People on those platforms were having after a few little hurdles, as expected. That's why you do TAP. Towards the end, everybody was like, this is working great. The calls had little to no complaints anymore. So if you're an AppSpace or Zogo person, go for it.
And speaking of AppSpace and Zogo. Digital signage on Teams Rooms does have a Learn article. It actually takes you through prerequisites, step 1, 2, and 3, and important things as you're rolling this out. Michael, new firmware on release notes for Teams Rooms on Android. This is really like an updated fix sort of thing. Not a lot of features, but just sort of fixes that came to Microsoft Teams Rooms on Android.
Ability is good.
Absolutely. Also, Microsoft Places is coming out of public preview, and it's going GA. There is a new website that's there. It actually does a very good job of showing you some places. There is a demo on there. There's a whole bunch of things that you can go check out. And congratulations to our partners at Logitech, winning one of the best inventions of 2024 with the site. Now, this is a center of table camera that actually takes into consideration the entire room. A lot of our partners have this solution, Michael, but it's really something that I think our partners can go back to customers that may have purchased Teams Rooms early on and say, we can make your experience better.
Yep. And by the way, it's also good that a consumer magazine like Time knows about our little world. You would expect like, oh, it's the new Apple earbuds or something consumer based, but good for Time.
Good for Time and good for Logitech. Now, if you haven't gotten your Teams Room badge yet, Michael, I know that you, myself, and Michelle, we all have our Teams Room badge. Let's go through another question. How can Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows be further secured and monitored? Is it
always C, isn't it?
What's that? It's always C according to Marin. Marin's not here. She's in Buffalo. Okay. It can't be C.
Okay.
But is it A, connect Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows devices to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Portal, install third-party antivirus software? That sounds interesting. Disable all security configurations on Microsoft Teams Rooms. It can't be that. We're in a secure first initiative. SFI is a big thing at Microsoft right now, so security is everything. So we can't be sick. Or is it re-image Teams Rooms on Windows with a customized image that might have everything that you need inside of that?
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to act like I'm Canadian and just go A.
Hey. It's hockey time. A, connect Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows devices to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Portal. Now, if you go take your badge, you will be presented 50 questions out of 100. Maybe you get this one, maybe you don't, but a passing grade is 80%. Once you do, please go ahead and post your badge on LinkedIn. And thank you, everybody, for saying Happy Friday. With that, Michelle, I'm going to hand it over to Dave for another AI prompt of the week. Roll the tape.
Welcome back to Copilot Prompt of the Week. When I'm doing demonstrations for customers, I need to be really careful about not exposing the sensitive data for other customers. To do this, I often use Copilot to synthesize data that I can then use for my demonstrations. Let me show you what I do. For this example, I'm going to come into Copilot for OneNote. Now, this could be any of the Microsoft app Copilots. Word or Excel is a big one I do use this for. But in this case, I wanted to use OneNote because it can study the way I take meeting notes. Let's imagine a 60-minute meeting where Dave, Marin, Jimmy, and Michelle are meeting to review 3 options for a software solution to select which to implement. Please study all of the pages in this notebook to learn my style for taking notes. Then, synthesize the raw notes of this fictitious meeting. Now, once it generates this, I'm going to copy this right back into a page of my OneNote, so then I can use it to analyze and feed my demos that I'm going to conduct. So I'll copy, I'll paste, I can hide the Copilot pane, and then here you can see the agenda, the discussion, the pros and the cons of each software option, and so on. I've got a great data set that I can now use for my demonstrations. And that's this week's Copilot Prompt of the Week. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who you think might find value. I'll see you next time.
Michael, you were not invited to that fictitious meeting, I noticed, but we were all there, and you saw Dave actually use information that is not personally, he's not exposing information. Again, and the idea of security, as we are all doing Copilot demos and things like that, there are chances that sometimes you show things. So that is a great example of how you can demo Copilot and not show your private security. Now, did you notice that Jimmy actually answered C on that question as well? So
I'm just glad I wasn't invited to that meeting. That looked boring.
Not invited to that meeting. Let's talk about some roadmap items. Now, there are a whole bunch of things. Remember, Places is coming out of public preview and going to GA. That means that there's things from Places on the roadmap. The app, the workplace check-in and workplace presence. Also, there's intelligent suggestions on your calendar. And again, even on the roadmap is the new Teams chat and channels operations. Also, Michael, we've got intelligent recap for ad hoc meetings in Teams coming as well.
What?
That's a big one. That's a big one. Now think about it. When we just have an impromptu meeting and we want to do things, this is an activity that we can now do. That's going to be sort of an interesting one because I think that's going to play with a lot of different devices, including maybe Teams rooms.
I'm going to say, even as an end user, I kind of forgot this was a requirement. Kind of forgot that, like, if I just call somebody up, drag a person in, and we click record, we're not going to get a recap. So this just makes it easier for end users to it just works
automatically. Also updated SIP platform. There is the message center, so you can know everything that's needed inside of your platform. Microsoft Teams rooms, multiple camera view for Teams rooms on Windows. Again, documenting everything that's in there, what you have to do. Teams rooms stop and start recordings on Windows. This is in there with pictures. Start recording. Again, a big one that's starting to come, and it's in there in the message center on the roadmap. And Michael, this might be one of the biggest changes that I think sort of took hold this week. I got a lot of traction on LinkedIn. I want to thank our friends at changepilot.cloud because I didn't get it in my message center, but it was there.
Yeah, this is so right there. You see in that image, conference room 225 might be what IT calls it, but it's really called Sunset. That's a Sunset conference room. So how can we call it Sunset when in IT land has their naming for it, and that's what they call the Exchange mailbox. But the real world, there's a sign over the top that calls it something else. So now you can change the Teams panel to show the name that people use, not the name that IT uses.
100%. This is something people have been asking for and something that will really, really help the adoption of Teams panels. I think if you are out there selling Teams rooms, remember that Teams panels only makes that experience better. Now, as far as upcoming events, there's only one thing to remember, Michael. On Tuesday, we're like monster trucks. Tuesday. The first Tuesday of every single month is going to be a Teams room learning hour. Every first Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. This month, we're actually going to cover what is the right meeting experience for your third-party meetings inside of your conference room. We'll go through everything: direct guest join, CVI, all the different platforms. We're going to do a deep dive actually into some of the signaling and things like that as well. So 100% we'll go ahead and cover that on Tuesday. That's the only event we did, Michael. This and everything else can be found at smtr.show. I want to thank everybody for showing up every single Friday for us. I know it's a great community. I know that there's a whole bunch of people out there. It is the day after Friday. I have a candy coma. I need to go take a nap, Michael.
Dude, I got a big night in front of me, but we'll talk about that later.
That means everybody have a great weekend. Michelle, go ahead and take us out of here. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. You make it all worthwhile. You make me feel alive. I appreciate your support. It means the world to me. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.